Tuesday afternoon. In the oil, it was no longer burning, but it had seeped up into casemates and where my locker was, and I waded knee-deep in oily waters to get to that locker. And strangely enough, the key still worked, and I opened it up, and everything in that locker was burned up except a brooch. I had sailing medals, rowing medals, album completely full of pictures of hula girls and luau's and all that. But all that was burned up, and the only thing that survived was a brooch, a cameo brooch that I had bought my mother on Saturday. It was mailed to her for Christmas. That brooch is still intact, and the metal surrounding that cameo was a little tarnished, but it wasn't melted. I sent that brooch to my mother, and she kept it all her life until it was returned to me. While we were and then after I got it, I sent it along with 2 telegrams my parents had received. While we were out fighting the fire, other guys were checking in to be assigned to other duties. But I found that my parents got a telegram on December 16th that I was missing in action. And then they received another telegram on December 19th that I was okay. And I didn't find it out from my mother, but I found it out through my wife. My mother had told my wife that she did not eat during those 3 days. So, but those 2 telegrams and that brooch today is at the Nimitz Museum in Fredericksburg, Texas, and they will bring that brooch out along with a little story and a picture of my mother and myself periodically. And if any of my relatives want to go there and see that brooch, they will gladly go back and get it and bring it out for you, you know. But essentially, that is about the complete story as I know it about Pearl Harbor. And I thank you for your attention, and hope that you'll enjoy it in the future. Okay?
Thank you for telling us the story.
Okay? You know, first aluminum has a low melting point.
So that's what caused the plane to just disintegrate.
But there's a friend of mine that he just happened to be in the same Pearl Harbor Survivors Association chapter. We're pretty well organized throughout the United States. With a state chairman, we have local chapters. But he happened to be in the same chapter as I. You know, and he started telling me one Sunday we were having a meeting. It was a Saturday. We always have a meeting on Saturday. And, you know, he started telling me, he said, you know, during the morning attack, I was downstairs. He was in the typist working in the Pacific Command, Compact, Commander Pacific Forces offices on shore, not far from the officers' club then. He said, I heard all this noise going on out there, and I wondered what it was. And he said, I ran upstairs and leaned out the window. He said, and I saw this plane coming, and that plane just completely disappeared. Just like a big flash, and it was gone. And I said, boy, am I glad to see you, meet you. So after that, I started telling guys about it, and I realized that the torpedo and the propeller were more or less detached parts of the plane. See, the torpedoes hanging down below, propellers out there. But I remember reaching out. I thought it was the insulation or keep out. something floating down. I remember reaching out. I don't know what made me do it, but it just, I was on the boat and this stuff was floating down. And I reached and I thought maybe it was K-pop, but since thought, well, probably wiring, insulation on the wire, you know, to go down. But that is essentially, not too many people will tell about the battleship is constructed with the little compartments, you know. You got the knife edge, you got about a 4-inch blade that protrudes out. And it's about 1/2-inch metal, stainless steel. And we take it periodically. It's a routine type thing. You got to go around that thing with the emery cloth, you know, keep it shine. And then the inset on the door that it's closing against, or whatever it's closing against, is pure rubber. And it's a strap metal like that. I guess it's about that wide, and it's strap metal here, and a pure rubber here, and that's where that knife edge hit. And all the wiring and all the tubing that goes through that is all sealed up in a compartment. And that truly is a watertight compartment. The West Virginia had some guys, and maybe I should have said something about it, but the guys for 16 days, someone was tapping day and night, for 16 days. And finally they just quit. And then when they were able to get into that compartment, down the bodies, you know, what they do, they put a coffer down around it, and that's interlocking steel thing, you know, like they put what they call it, it pounds the pile driver, it pounds them things down into the mud or whatever it is, and it takes an interlocking next to it, so puts it there, keeps that up until you get a complete circle around the ship. And then they take a pump and pump all the water out. And that's what they did with the West Virginia. They pumped all the water out of that, and they took it and they hatched that West Virginia, and they floated it. And in 1942, late 42 or 43, they sent that thing back on its own power to Bremerton, Washington. And they cut off the superstructure and they modernized it with rockets and all that stuff, you know. And it went back into service. And it was the only battleship. It was the only battleship that was present at Pearl Harbor that was at the armistice signing in Tokyo Bay on the USS Missouri. But the USS West Virginia was there. But that was the only battleship that was at Pearl Harbor in that bay that morning.
How about that?
Yeah. I have copies of the surrender document. I have copies of captured Japanese drawings and torpedoes, you know, stuff like that.
Now, where did you go from there?
Well, I went over to what they call the ammunition depot at Westlock, and we went and the divers were going down and picking up ammunition out of these sunken ships, and then like powder, black powder, and full size, but about the size of a pencil. It looked like a pencil, 1 inch chopped up in a bag and pull a 5-inch gun, be about that long, about that big around. You know, with a black powder charge on one end. We'd cut off the black powder charge, put it in a can by itself, pour all those pellets into a metal canister, put a lock on it, and put it in boxcars, put the ammunition. And